Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
You had it's a different show. It's a different show from all the other Star Treks. What were the challenges in establishing the style in the pilot to kind of give it its own distinct look?
I'm a big fan of, I said this earlier, but I'm a big fan of discovering it in post. It's not fix it in post, but discover it in post. And I think with Starfleet Academy especially, I think we discovered what the show was, and finding the right tone. With Starfleet, the producers are tasked by the studio of creating a show that appeals to a younger an audience, not necessarily a young audience, but that can appeal to both the existing Trek fans and to people who might not have ever watched Trek before, and generally that's going to be a younger audience. So finding that is a very delicate. It's a hard line to walk, and I think we spent a lot of time during the pilot taking a scene and finding a way to make it more serious and making it sillier and going back and forth. And in the end, you can see with our show where we landed, which is something I'm very proud of. I think Starfleet Academy is it's something that my kids watch and can enjoy, and my parents can watch and enjoy. And I think that's it's kind of remarkable. There's not that much out there that satisfies all of that.
And now that we have a whole new universe, really this is the future. Starfleet has collapsed as we know it, and you have to introduce a lot of characters. What a challenge like introducing all the characters, resetting a universe, and you had a very short time, really in only Act 1 or 2 of the pilot.
Yeah, I mean that's the hardest thing about a new show, and a pilot specifically, is that you need to establish this universe immediately, and you need to capture the audience's attention, and you need to hold on to it. And usually, you need to have something exciting happening. So, you'll notice that, we begin with the trial with Noose Braca, and it's Paul Giamatti, and Caleb and his mom, and Nala. And then very quickly, we get to the fight in the prison shuttle on the way down to the planet, and that's a pretty consistent theme you'll see in a lot of shows, which is you have a way of establishing who these people are, and then you want to get people's adrenaline up. You want to give them something to get excited about, and that was the approach there. They're both really fun, but if you just start with the action, you don't know who you care about or who to care about. That said, if you don't have something exciting to hook the audience, you run the risk of people not knowing why they should care. So,
my favorite sequence was you have the great out spacewalk. A character going in spacewalk at the same time performing surgery, another character performing life-saving surgery. What's the challenge of doing such an intense sequence?
That was a fun one from the editing perspective because it's intercut, and we played around with how to, you have all these different disparate scenes, and some of them are light, and some of them are scary, and some of them are dramatic, and some of them are sad, and where do you put them relative to each other so that the audience is going on the journey that you want them to go on, and you don't want, on the one hand, you want to keep it engaging, you want to keep it, interesting and feel like there's variety, but you also don't want it to be confusing. You don't want to jump around so much that you're like, I don't really know what's going on or who to care about. So that was a really challenging sequence because we played around with how all the parts go together to make sure that it was both exciting but also didn't confuse anyone.
And it was also grounded in character, which was my favorite thing, because the characters learning about each other in a very stressful situation.
Yeah, Gina Yashar, who plays Laura Thok, she, that whole sequence. I mean, she's telling them how to do this surgery on her, and really early on, it became obvious that Gina is she's so funny, and she's such a talent, and despite all of the makeup and everything that she's got to work through, you really connect with this. She's very believable. She is. She's in this situation, and it's pretty gnarly. So the benefit of that is we had really great performances from our cast, and after that, everything else kind of falls into place. It's just a question of how to get it just right, but it's really hard to screw up when the performances are that good.
Did you ever imagine you'd be doing a really cool fight sequence with Paul Giamatti doing like an Old West brawl fight sequence?
I mean, anything is possible. I will say that Paul, I think, was the one who was like, do you know how old I am? Like, I mean, and he's not that old, to be fair, but he's not the guy you normally think of when you're like, this is a brawler. This is the guy who's like going to do the hardcore action. Like, this is the guy who's going to really kick some butt. And I think he just got such a kick out of it. I mean, that was the thing about working. I was on set when they were shooting episodes 1 and 2, and Paul was having so much fun. He was like, and the moment Paul Giamatti steps on set and he's having a great time, everybody's having a great time, right? There's no world where, if Paul Giamatti's in the room and he's happy, everyone is happy because he's got that kind of electricity. So he was having a blast, and actually I will say that Sandro, the actor that he was Caleb, Sandro is a remarkable athlete. He's really, I mean, he's obviously incredibly fit, but he's also incredibly dedicated, and he's really committed to learning all of the choreography and being. He's actually the best actor that I've seen that I can compare him to is Chiwetel from The Man Who Fell to Earth, and these are actors that are just absolutely 100% committed to the character, and I just watching Paul fight was awesome, but what I've learned is watching Sandro fight anytime is awesome because he's just so compelling and he's so into it. He's committed. It's great.